Amidst all the upheaval that is taking place to curb the spread of COVID-19, the Communist Party points out that it's easy to overlook the specific distress that thousands of women are suffering in their own homes. Lockdown across the country has resulted in an alarming growth in the psychological, physical and sexual violence used against women and girls. Those with violent partners find themselves isolated from the people and resources that can help them. The widespread rise in violence against women and girls across the globe has been exacerbated under conditions of lockdown. The intensification of violence and partner control has led to an increase in the number of women murdered by current or former partners. When societies are under stress, the rates of domestic and sexual violence increases. This growth in violence reflects the historical and cultural traditions imposed upon women and their expected subordinate role within society. As the crisis of the system continues to deepen, this violence can be understood as a reflection of how stressors in our society reinforce traditional, patriarchal, religious, and right-wing views that create an environment where male violence is tolerated. Domestic violence figures in the North are at the highest level since records began. The Police Service of Northern Ireland revealed that they have received almost 4,000 calls related to domestic abuse since the COVID lockdown began. In the Republic, domestic violence reports to An Garda Síochána have increased by 30% in some areas. Women's Aid say that the true spike in domestic attacks is likely much higher because many victims are now trapped at home in close proximity with their abusers and they've lost the means to reach out for help. Women's Aid refugees that were starved of money under various British, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael governments now have to manage this crisis situation by relying on charity. Reports show that 21 women's refuges in the Republic are now full, and many have communal living spaces, making social distancing impossible, creating a risk for all who use the refuge. The problems of violence do not stand alone as the only issue facing women. The problems associated with undervalued work, access to abortion services, and extra care duties at home and at work have been amplified by this crisis. COVID-19 may not know any boundaries regarding class and nationality, but in 2020, the rapid spread of this virus has dramatically shifted our domestic and economic landscape. It is migrant workers, the low-paid, the most vulnerable in our society that have suffered the most from infection rates, and it will be working-class women and their families who are hit first and hardest by the recession and the imposition of further austerity that will follow. We must also recognise that women seeking asylum, those trapped in war-torn areas, and those forced to live on the fringes of society experience even more repression and need our solidarity more than ever. It's not enough that we merely acknowledge the difficulties faced by women. We must do all we can to elevate these women's voices and their struggle.